The ship was cold. Had noticed this the moment she stepped on board 3 weeks ago. The Galactic Combat Academy kept their station at a temperature that made her bones ache. The aliens here came from hot worlds, desert planets, and volcanic moons. They liked the cold. It reminded them of comfort. For it reminded her of the winters back home when her grandmother would make soup and tell her stories about soldiers. She was not supposed to be here. That was what everyone told her. Humans had only joined the Galactic Union 5 years ago. They were new. They were small. They were, according to most species in the galaxy, completely unremarkable. The Union had accepted Earth into their system not because humans were strong or smart or dangerous. They accepted Earth because humans were harmless. A species that posed no threat was easy to include, easy to ignore. Walked down the metal corridor toward the evaluation chamber. Her boots made soft sounds on the floor. Around her, other cadets moved in groups. Most of them were. They were the dominant military species in this sector. They stood over 7 feet tall. Their skin was thick and like stone. They had 4 arms, each one ending in claws that could cut through steel. Their eyes were small and red, and they looked at everything like it was food. They did not look at. She was beneath their notice. A human female, barely 5 feet 4 inches tall, weighing less than one of their arms. She was nothing to them, just a small creature from a small world that the Union had let in out of pity. Admiral had warned her about this. Before she left Earth, he had called her into his office. He was an old man with hair and calm eyes. He had served in the Korean Navy for 40 years before the aliens came. Now he served as Earth's military representative to the Union. They will test you, he had said. Not because they think you can pass, because they want to see you fail. They want proof that humans do not belong in their military. Do you understand? Had understood. She understood very well. The evaluation chamber was a large circular room with high walls. The floor was made of some kind of rubber material that absorbed impact. Around the edges, seats rose up in rows where observers could watch. Today, those seats were full. Saw instructors in their black uniforms. She saw officers with medals on their chests. She saw representatives from a dozen other species, all watching with curious eyes. They had come to see the human. In the center of the room stood 12 cadets. They were young by standards, probably only 30 years old, but they were fully grown. Each one was a mountain of muscle and claw. They wore light training armor and held plasma staffs in their hands. The staffs hummed with energy. One hit from those weapons could burn through flesh and bone. An instructor stepped forward. There were thin creatures with long necks and silver skin. They were known for their intelligence and their cruelty. This one had cold blue eyes that showed no emotion. "Cadet of Earth," the instructor said. His voice echoed through the chamber. "You have requested evaluation for combat certification. Is this correct?" Stepped into the center of the room. She could feel every eye on her. She could hear whispers from the crowd. Some of them were laughing. "Yes," she said, "that is correct." The instructor made a sound that might have been amusement. "Very well. You will face 12 cadets in standard combat evaluation. The rules are simple. Survive for 5 minutes and you pass. Defeat your opponents and you earn honors." He paused and looked at her with something like pity. "You will be provided with a weapon appropriate to your species classification." Another came forward. In his hands he carried a stick. It was made of foam and rubber about 2 feet long. It was the kind of thing that children used to play fight. It could not hurt anyone. It could not even leave a bruise. The crowd laughed openly now. The cadets grinned, showing rows of sharp teeth. Took the stick. She held it in her right hand and felt its weight. It was light, almost nothing. "This is my weapon," she asked. "Humans are classified as a non-combat species," the instructor explained. "You are not permitted to carry lethal weapons in evaluation. This training tool is appropriate for your level." More laughter. One of the cadets, a large male with scars on his face, stepped forward. Had heard about him. He was the best fighter in the cadet program. He had killed 3 opponents in training exercises, real kills. The instructors had praised him for it. "Little human," said, his voice was deep and rough. "You should go home. This is not a place for prey animals." Looked up at him. He was more than 2 feet taller than her. His arms were thick with muscle. His claws gleamed under the lights. She said nothing. The instructor raised his hand. "The evaluation will begin in 30 seconds. Cadets, take your positions." The 12 spread out around. They formed a circle with her at the center. Their plasma staffs hummed and crackled with energy. The weapons left glowing trails in the air as they moved. Stood very still. She held the foam stick loosely at her side. Her breathing was slow and steady. Her heart rate was calm. She had trained for this moment her entire life. Back on Earth, Admiral sat in his office watching the live feed from the academy. His aide, a young officer named, stood beside him, was nervous. His hands were shaking. "Sir," said, "this is not fair. They gave her a toy. Those have real weapons. They could kill her." Smiled. It was a small smile, barely visible. "Watch," he said, "just watch." In the arena, the timer began its countdown. 10 seconds. The cadets tensed, ready to attack. They were excited. This would be easy. This would be fun. 5 seconds. Closed her eyes for a moment. She thought about her grandmother. She thought about the stories of soldiers. She thought about what it meant to be human. 3 seconds. She opened her eyes. The horn sounded. The evaluation had begun. The horn echoed through the arena, but nobody moved. The cadets stood in their circle, looking at each other with confusion. This was not how evaluations usually started. Usually, the weak opponent would run. Usually, there would be fear. Did not run. She did not show fear. She simply stood there holding her foam stick, waiting. Laughed. It was a deep, ugly sound that filled the chamber. "Look at this," he said to his fellow cadets. "The little human does not even know she should be afraid. She is too stupid to understand what is happening." The other laughed with him. In the stands, some of the observers joined in. The instructors watched with cold amusement. This was exactly what they expected. This was why they had set up this evaluation. They wanted to show everyone that humans were nothing, that Earth had nothing to offer the Galactic Union. A female cadet named stepped closer too. She was smaller than but still towered over the human. Her scales were darker, almost black, and her claws were painted with ceremonial marks. "I have studied your species," said. "You are made of soft flesh. You have no claws, no armor, no natural weapons. You cannot even see in the dark. How did your kind survive on your planet?" Looked at her, her face showed nothing. "We managed," she said quietly. Snorted. "You managed because your world was easy. No real predators, no real challenges. You lived in your safe little caves and ate plants and small animals. You never had to fight for survival, not like us." They believed this. They all believed it. The Union's records said that Earth was a peaceful world. The records said that humans had evolved without serious competition. The records said that humans were gentle creatures who had never known real violence. The records were wrong. But they did not know this. They only knew what they could see, and what they saw was a small, soft creature holding a toy weapon. Walked slowly around the circle. His plasma staff left trails of light in the air. He wanted to enjoy this moment. He wanted to make it last. "I will tell you what we are going to do, little human," he said. "We are going to hurt you, not kill you. That would be too quick. We are going to break your bones one by one. We are going to show everyone watching that humans are weak, that you do not deserve to be here." He stopped walking and pointed his staff at. "When we are done, you will crawl out of this arena, and you will go back to your little planet, and you will tell your people to stay there. This galaxy belongs to the strong, not to prey." In the stands, a young officer leaned toward his companion. "This is cruel," he whispered. "She has no chance. Why did the instructors allow this? His companion, an older with scales, shook his head. Because the High Council wants to send a message. Humans have been asking for full military membership in the Union. They want equal status. The Council wants to show them their place. By hurting one of their females. By proving that humans cannot compete. After today, Earth will understand. They will accept their role as a protected species. They will stop asking for things they do not deserve. The young looked back at the arena. The human female had not moved. She had not spoken. She just stood there waiting. Something about her stillness made him uncomfortable. On Earth, Admiral continued to watch the feed. His aide was packing back and forth. "Sir, we should protest. This is not a fair evaluation. We should contact the Union Council. We should." "Sit down." "But sir." "Sit down." Sat, he had never heard the Admiral speak with such command. Eyes were fixed on the screen. His face was calm, but there was something in his expression, something old and knowing. "You think this is unfair," said. "You think those have the advantage." "They have real weapons, sir. She has a foam stick." Nodded slowly. "Tell me, what do you know about Sergeant's background?" Thought for a moment. She joined the military at 18. She scored highest in her class in every physical test. She was selected for the Union Exchange program because of her exceptional performance. "What else?" That is all I know, sir." Smiled again, that small, knowing smile. Before the aliens came, trained in a martial art called Hapkido. She earned her black belt at 15. By 18, she was teaching classes. By 20, she had won 3 national championships. By 22, she had developed her own fighting style, a combination of Hapkido, Taekwondo, and something older, something her grandmother taught her. Frowned, her grandmother. Her grandmother was a comfort woman during the occupation. She survived things that would break most people, and she learned things, ways to hurt people, ways to kill people with nothing but her hands. She passed that knowledge to her granddaughter. Leaned back in his chair. They think they are predators. They think their claws and their size make them dangerous, but they have never faced a human who truly knows how to fight. They have never faced someone who was trained to kill with a piece of bamboo, or a rope, or nothing at all. In the arena, raised his plasma staff high. "Enough talking," he growled. "Let us begin." He lunged forward, swinging the staff in a wide arc aimed at its head. The weapon moved fast, faster than any human should be able to dodge. The energy crackled through the air. The crowd leaned forward, eager to see the first blow land. Was not there. She had moved before even completed his swing. She had stepped to the side, just a few inches, just enough to let the staff pass harmlessly through the space where she had been standing. Stumbled, surprised by the miss. He turned, swinging the staff again. Again moved. Again the weapon found nothing but air. The crowd fell silent. Attacked from behind, her staff aimed its back, but was already turning, already moving, already somewhere else. 2 more joined the attack, then 3 more. Then all 12 were swinging their weapons at the small human woman, trying to land a single hit. They could not touch her. Flowed between the attacks like water through rocks. She did not run. She did not block. She simply was not where the weapons were. Every strike missed. Every swing found empty air. They were getting frustrated. They were getting angry. And had not even raised her foam stick yet. In the stands, the young officer stood up. His eyes were wide. "How is she doing that?" he whispered. His companion did not answer. He was staring at the arena with something new in his expression. It was fear. Continued to dodge. Her movements were small and precise. She was not tired, she was not scared. She was studying her opponents, learning their patterns, counting their weaknesses. She had been waiting for this moment her entire life. And now it was time to stop waiting. Swung his plasma staff again, putting all his strength behind the blow. He was tired of missing. He was tired of looking foolish in front of the observers. This small human was making him look like a child trying to catch a fly. He roared as he attacked. The sound filled the arena. It was a sound meant to freeze prey in place. It was a sound that had made other species surrender in terror. Did not freeze. She moved inside the arc of his swing. For the first time, she raised her foam stick. It looked ridiculous in her hand. It looked like nothing. It looked like a joke. The stick hits throat. It was not a hard hit. It did not need to be. Knew exactly where to strike. She knew the anatomy better than they knew it themselves. She had studied their bodies for months. She had memorized every nerve cluster, every vulnerable point, every weakness in their stone-like skin. The throat was where the breathed. The scales were thinner there, and there was a bundle of nerves right below the jaw that controlled their entire respiratory system. Stick touched that spot, just touched it, a gentle tap that looked like nothing. Stopped mid-swing. His eyes went wide. His mouth opened, but no sound came out. His body did not understand what was happening. His brain was sending signals to his lungs, but the nerves were not responding. He could not breathe. He dropped his plasma staff. His 4 hands went to his throat. He stumbled backward, gasping for air that would not come. The arena went silent. Did not stop. She could not stop. 12 opponents. She had counted them. She had watched them move. She knew which ones were fast, which ones were strong, which ones were dangerous. She knew the order in which she needed to take them down. Was next. The female was already attacking, her staff aimed at its chest. She was fast for her, but she was not fast enough. Ducked under the swing and stepped forward. Her stick came up in a short arc, striking the inside of his elbow. The joint bent the wrong way with a sound like cracking wood. Screamed. Her staff fell from her useless hand. Was already moving. 2 more attacked together. They had trained for coordinated combat. They knew how to work as a team. One attacked high, one attacked low. There was nowhere for their target to go. Went forward. She rolled between them, passing so close that her hair brushed their legs. As she rolled, her stick whipped out twice. Once to the back of the first's knee, hitting the nerve cluster that controlled leg movement. Once to the second's ankle, striking the tendon that kept the foot attached to the leg. Both collapsed. They tried to stand, but their legs would not work. They lay on the ground, confused and frightened, not understanding what had happened to their bodies. 4 down, 8 to go. The remaining hesitated. They looked at their fallen companions. They looked at the small human standing among them, holding her foam stick, not even breathing hard. This was not possible. This could not be happening. One of them, a young male named, threw down his plasma staff. "Enough of this," he growled. "I do not need a weapon to crush a human." He charged at with his 4 arms spread wide. He was going to grab her. He was going to squeeze until her soft bones broke. He was going to show everyone that strength was absolute. Watched him come. She waited. Patience was important. Her grandmother had taught her that. Wait for the right moment. Let your enemy commit. Then move. Reached for her. Stepped to the side and placed her hand on his arm. It was a gentle touch, almost friendly, but her fingers found the nerve that ran along the inside of his forearm. She pressed. His arm went limp. The signals from his brain could not reach his muscles. He stumbled past her off balance, one arm hanging useless at his side. Before he could turn, stick tapped the base of his skull, right where the spine connected to the brain. It was the most protected spot on his body, covered by thick bone and dense muscle. But there was a gap, a tiny gap where the bone plates met. Her grandmother had told her about such gaps. Every creature had them. Every body had weaknesses. You just had to know where to look. Fell, he was not dead. He was not even badly hurt, but he could not move. His body had simply stopped responding to his commands. 5 down, 7 to go. In the stands, the observers were no longer laughing. They were no longer smiling. The instructors were leaning forward in their seats, their cold blue eyes fixed on the arena below. They had never seen anything like this. No species had ever moved like this human. No species had ever fought like this. One of the instructors opened a communication channel to the High Council. "You need to see this," he said. "You need to see this now." On Earth, Admiral watched with quiet satisfaction. Beside him had stopped packing. He was standing frozen, staring at the screen. Hal whispered, "How is she doing this?" Did not answer immediately. He was watching move, watching her strike, watching her turn 12 of the galaxy's most feared warriors into helpless victims. "Humans are not the strongest species," he said finally. "We are not the fastest. We are not the most durable, but we have something that other species do not." "What?" "Time. Humans have had time. Our species has been fighting for 200,000 years. We have been killing each other and everything else on our planet since before we could walk upright. We have developed more ways to hurt, maim, and destroy than any other species in the galaxy." He pointed at the screen. "Knows 37 different martial arts. She has studied anatomy and pressure points from traditions that are thousands of years old. She understands how bodies work better than most doctors, and she knows how to break them." In the arena, continued her work. 2 more fell when she struck their inner ears, destroying their balance. 1 more collapsed when she hit a cluster of nerves in his armpit that controlled his hearts. Another went down when she tapped a spot behind his eye that sent his brain into protective shutdown. 9 down, 3 to go. The last 3 looked at each other. They were scared now. They did not understand what was happening, but they understood fear. They understood that this small human was something they had never encountered before. One of them, a female with pale scales, dropped her weapon and raised her hands. "I yield," she said. Her voice was shaking. "I yield this fight." The other 2 followed her example. They dropped their staffs and stepped back, away from the human who had destroyed their companions with nothing but a foam stick and her bare hands. Stood in the center of the arena, surrounded by groaning. She was not even breathing hard. Her heart rate was still calm. Her hands were steady. She looked up at the stands, at the shocked faces of the observers, at the instructors who had expected to see her broken and bleeding. She did not smile. She did not celebrate. She simply waited. The fight was over, but the lesson was just beginning. The arena was completely silent. Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. The only sounds were the groans of the fallen and the soft hum of the abandoned plasma staffs lying on the floor. An instructor stood up slowly from his seat. His hands were shaking. He looked at the timer on the wall of the arena. It showed 4.7 seconds. The entire fight had lasted 4.7 seconds. In 4.7 seconds, 1 human female with a foam stick had defeated 12 of the best cadets in the academy. "This is impossible," he whispered. "This is not possible." But it had happened. Everyone had seen it. The cameras had recorded it. There would be no denying what had just occurred. Medical teams rushed into the arena. They surrounded the fallen, checking their vital signs, trying to understand what had been done to them. The cadets were alive. They were all alive, but something was wrong with their bodies. "I cannot move my legs," said. His voice was weak and frightened. "Why can I not move my legs?" "Your nerve clusters have been disrupted," a medical officer explained. "The signals from your brain are not reaching your muscles. It is temporary, we think, we hope." Around him, the other reported similar problems. Arms that would not respond, eyes that would not focus, legs that felt like they belonged to someone else. They had not been cut. They had not been burned. Their bodies had simply been turned off like machines with disconnected wires. Was crying. The proud female warrior who had mocked just minutes ago was lying on the ground, tears running down her dark scales. "What is she?" asked. What is that human? She is not normal, she is not natural, she is some kind of monster. The medical officer had no answer. In the stands, the observers were beginning to recover from their shock. They whispered to each other in a dozen different languages. They pointed at the human standing calmly in the center of the arena. They tried to understand what they had witnessed. A general stood up. His name was, and he had been fighting wars for 300 years. He had seen things that would break most minds. He had faced enemies that could destroy planets, but he had never seen anything like this. "Bring me the human's file," he ordered. "Bring me everything we have on Earth, everything we have on their species. I want to know how this happened." An aide rushed to obey. Another observer, a diplomat from a species called the, was already on his communication device. He was speaking quickly, his voice high with excitement. "Cancel all negotiations with Earth. Yes, all of them. No, do not ask questions, just do it. I will explain when I return." He ended the call and looked back at the arena. The human had not moved. She was just standing there, waiting, as if defeating 12 warriors was nothing special, as if it was just another day. The diplomat felt a chill run through his body. His species had been planning to pressure Earth into unfair trade agreements. They had thought humans were weak. They had thought humans could be exploited. They had been very, very wrong. On Earth was sitting down. He had to sit down. His legs would not hold him anymore. "Sir," he said to Admiral, "how many people on Earth can do what she just did?" Considered the question. Is exceptional, she is one of the best, but there are others. Maybe 10,000 who can match her skill, maybe more. 10,000. "We have been preparing for this moment," said. "Since the day we learned we were not alone in the universe, we have been preparing. We knew that other species would see us as weak. We knew they would try to take advantage of us, so we trained, we studied, we got ready." He stood up and walked to the window. Outside, the sun was setting over Seoul. The city lights were beginning to glow. Billions of humans lived on this planet. Billions more lived in colonies across the solar system, and many of them had been training just like. "The galaxy thinks we are prey," said. "They think we are soft little creatures from a safe little world. They think we do not know how to fight. They think we do not know how to kill." He turned back to face. They are about to learn how wrong they are. Back at the academy, the instructors finally recovered enough to act. One of them walked slowly down to the arena floor. His legs felt weak. His heart was beating too fast, but he had a duty to perform. He stopped in front of. She looked up at him with calm eyes. There was no pride in her expression, no anger, no satisfaction. She looked like someone who had just completed a simple task. "Cadet of Earth," the instructor said. His voice was not steady. "You have completed the combat evaluation. You have. You have defeated all 12 opponents in 4.7 seconds. This is a new record. This is the fastest completion time in the history of the Academy." He paused. He did not know what to say next. The rules had never covered this situation. Nobody had ever thought this situation was possible. "You are granted combat certification with highest honors," he continued. You are also recommended for immediate promotion to officer rank. Congratulations." Nodded, "Thank you." That was all she said. "Thank you." As if she had just been handed a cup of coffee instead of the highest military honor the Academy could give. The instructor turned and walked away. He needed to sit down. He needed to think. He needed to figure out what this meant for the galaxy. In the medical area, the cadets were being treated. Doctors were trying to restart their nerve clusters, trying to reconnect the signals that had disrupted. It was slow work. Some of the damage might take weeks to heal. Was recovering faster than the others. He was the strongest, and his body was fighting back against the disruption. He could move his arms now, though his legs were still dead. He looked across the arena at the human. She was still standing there, still holding that stupid foam stick. He had been humiliated. He had been defeated. He should have been angry. But all he felt was awe. "She is amazing," he said quietly. "She is the most amazing fighter I have ever seen." Lying on a stretcher beside him, turned her head to look at him. "What? Did you see her move? Did you see how she fought? It was beautiful. It was like watching water flow, like watching wind blow. She did not fight us, she just moved through us." Stared at him. "She broke my arm. She put you on the ground gasping for air, and you think she is amazing." "Yes," said, "I do, and I want to learn. I want to learn how she did it. I want to understand." For the first time since the fight ended, he smiled. "I think humans are going to change everything." 3 days after the evaluation, the video had spread across the entire Galactic Union. Every species had seen it. Every military commander had studied it. Every government had held emergency meetings to discuss what it meant. The recording was simple. It showed 12 cadets with plasma weapons surrounding a small human with a foam stick. It showed 4.7 seconds of movement that most viewers could not even follow. And it showed 12 lying on the ground, defeated by a creature they had called prey. The galaxy had never seen anything like it. On the Union Council station, leaders from 100 different species gathered for an emergency session. The topic was simple: what to do about humanity. Grand Admiral of the military stood before the assembly. He was old, even by standards. He had fought in 6 wars and won them all. He had been the strongest voice calling for humans to be classified as a non-combat species. He had been wrong. "We made a mistake," he said. His voice echoed through the great chamber. "We looked at humans and saw small bodies. We saw soft flesh and dull teeth. We saw a species without claws or armor or natural weapons, and we thought they were harmless." He paused and looked around at the assembled leaders. "We were fools." The chamber was silent. Nobody disagreed. "I have spent the last 3 days studying human history," continued. "I have learned things that disturb me, things that frighten me. Do you know what humans have been doing to each other for the past 200,000 years? He activated a display screen. Images appeared. Images of war. Images of violence. Images of human ingenuity applied to the art of killing. "They have been fighting," said. "They have been killing. They have developed more ways to end life than any other species we have ever encountered. They have weapons that can destroy cities. They have poisons that can kill in seconds. They have machines that can hunt their enemies across entire continents." He showed more images: soldiers in formation, martial artists in training, weapons that ranged from simple knives to nuclear missiles. "And this," he said, "is what they do to each other. This is how they treat members of their own species. Can you imagine what they could do to us if they decided we were enemies?" The chamber remained silent. The leaders looked at each other with new understanding. They had all thought of humans as a joke, a small species from a small world that would never matter. Now they understood the truth. Humans were not prey. They had never been prey. They were the most dangerous predators in the galaxy. They had just been hiding. On Earth, Admiral received official word that humanity's request for full military membership in the Union had been approved. Not just approved, fast-tracked. Every species that had voted against it before was now voting in favor. He read the message twice, then set it aside, stood before his desk, still wearing her academy uniform. She had not changed since her return to Earth. "You did well," said, "better than I expected." Nodded, "Thank you, sir." "Do you understand what happens now?" "Yes, sir. The Union will treat us differently. They will respect us. They will fear us." Shook his head. "That is part of it, but there is more. You showed them what one human can do. Now they will wonder what billions of humans can do. They will start asking questions. They will start looking at us more carefully." He stood and walked around his desk to face her directly. "We have been hiding for 5 years, pretending to be weak, pretending to be harmless. We did this because we needed time, time to learn about the galaxy, time to understand the other species, time to find our place. And now we stop hiding. Now we show them who we really are, not as conquerors, not as destroyers, but as equals, as partners, as allies who can stand beside them, not beneath them. Placed his hand on shoulder. You did more than win a fight. You changed the future of our species. Remember that. Looked at him with those calm, steady eyes. I will, sir. That evening returned to her small apartment inn. Her grandmother was waiting for her. The old woman was small and thin, with white hair and wrinkled hands, but her eyes were sharp. Her eyes had seen things that would break most people. I watched the video, her grandmother said. You did well. Sat down beside her. I used everything you taught me, every technique, every lesson. I know I recognized them. The old woman smiled. You made me proud. They sat together in silence for a while. Outside, the sun was setting over the city. The sky was painted in shades of orange and red. Do you think they understand now? Asked finally. Do you think they know what humans really are? Her grandmother thought about the question. She thought about her own past, about the things she had survived, about the lessons she had learned. No, she said. They do not understand, not yet. They saw a video. They saw numbers and statistics, but they do not truly understand what humans are capable of. She reached out and took his hand. We are not the fastest. We are not the strongest. We do not have claws or scales or armored skin, but we have something else. We have will. We have the ability to suffer and keep going, to fall down and get back up, to face impossible situations and find a way to win. She squeezed his hand gently. That is what makes us dangerous. Not our weapons, not our technology, not our training. It is our spirit, our refusal to accept defeat, our determination to survive no matter what. Nodded, she understood. She had always understood. What happens now? She asked. Her grandmother smiled. It was the smile of someone who had lived through darkness and found light on the other side. Now we live, we grow, we take our place in the galaxy, and we show them every day what it means to be human. Across the galaxy, species that had once looked down on humanity were reconsidering their positions. Trade agreements were being rewritten. Military alliances were being formed. Diplomatic messages were being sent. The era of human weakness was over. A new era was beginning. And it had all started with a small woman, a foam stick, and 4.7 seconds of perfect violence. In the Academy archives, the video was saved with a simple title, Human Combat Evaluation Cadet. Underneath, someone had added a note. Classification changed from non-combat species to apex predator. The galaxy would never see humans the same way again.